Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Strategic Command World War II War in Europe, our 1939 Grand Campaign against the Allies, playing as the Germans. You can see in the last time around, we destroyed a lot of Soviet units. That's a lot! As well as a couple of British units as well. We captured a lot of towns as well. You can see here, we're pretty much done with this turn, but the initial invasion of Russia has begun. We've done two turns so far, and we've taken Odessa in the south. We've driven as far as Kirovograd in sort of, I guess, Ukraine. We've also driven here and surrounded the 10th Soviet Army at Proskurov. And we are driving towards Zhytomyr and Kiev, also in Ukraine. Unfortunately, we were not able to take the town of Rono, which would have been a very nice thing to do from a logistics point of view. Our frontline troops here next turn are going to be a little bit low on supply because our headquarters aren't able to be pushed forward enough. So the Soviet 10th Army holding at Proskurov, and then also the lack of ability to get anybody into Rono means we can't push those headquarter units far enough forward to really get the supply situation to be much better. So that's something to keep in mind. Further north, kind of Army Group Center, took Brest-Litovsk. We're driving on Minsk. Feels like we're a little behind there. The offensive did start a little bit late as well. And then in the north, we are getting close to Riga. We've basically bordered Riga. Hopefully Riga will fall next turn. And then we've got the fortress town of Daugavpils, which is kind of a blocker. Like, you can see why some of these... You can see why Brest-Litovsk was the fortification that it was, you know, on the border with Poland. Obviously, you've got the fortifications here at Daugavpils, which kind of hinders the ability to move up this rail line toward Ostrov and then driving east toward Rizhev. So, like, some of these fortifications are located in logical places. And then the war on the Finnish front is kind of static at the moment, as you might expect, with a bunch of units that are all coming in at half strength and in bad weather and bad logistics. You know, maybe we can make things a little bit better for our troops here in the near future, but at the moment the guys up there are not in great shape. Can we upgrade this? No. But yeah, so we'll try and threaten Leningrad from the north. We destroyed a ton of Soviet units on the border, which you would expect to see, but I'm not sure if we're doing well or not because we did start a little bit late. Now, if we go down here to the desert, did we do our turn down here yet? I don't... well, we did. We did attack with some of these, but not all these guys. We attacked with the armor, but not the infantry and the armored car. So let's go ahead and... we can't attack with the artillery quite yet. So let's go ahead and actually attack with the 5th Italian Army against the 13th Corps down here to the west of Suez, east of Cairo. Let's also attack with the recon car. And so we're doing pretty good damage here against the... well, we drove them back. I would have preferred to destroy them, but we did drive them back. And now I can move my headquarters to Cairo, and then the Italian headquarters into Alexandria, and that should help push supply forward for a lot of these units too. So, yeah. Hopefully they don't counterattack against this recon car, but I'm assuming by us pushing forward here, they're going to pull these artillery units back, maybe pull this air unit back as well. Meanwhile, we also need to move this Italian submarine somewhere it can replenish. We've got some points here to go ahead and issue reinforcements to some of these Italian units. Let's move this guy here. What do we want to do with the... partisans in Yugoslavia are all okay. We need more units in Greece. Although this Italian unit can actually operate to Russia because it's not doing anything there. So let's drive this Italian unit north, I guess? I don't know. It's kind of the... I feel like the Italians are more fillers to kind of keep the lines cohesive rather than, you know, frontline troops per se. So we'll have these guys clear the Pripyat marshes. Sorry, dudes. That sounds like a shitty job. And then we'll get 3 more German garrison units, which will help us garrison in Greece next turn. We'll hold off on moving that Italian army and corps south until we've got, or sorry, to Russia until we've got these 3 units here. Glad you enjoyed, Tom. And then we also have some points for the Germans to reinforce their fleet. We've got some subs to reinforce here. Some of these subs can be overstrength, which is nice. So we've got 3 overstrength subs. The rest of them are all properly strengthed. That's a thing. And then we'll move these guys who didn't reinforce out west so they can all be kind of grouped together when they all do move. We've got 480 points left, industrial points left for the Germans. We've got a little bit of room to fund more research. Let's go ahead and do ground attack level 3 so we can get our ground attack from our aircraft to be a little bit better. And then the 310 points we've got for the Germans, we're going to go ahead and buy some garrison units. A lot of garrison units, because we're going to need to garrison the rear of the Soviets as we move forward. There's going to be a lot of partisan hexes, potentially. Not quite yet in most of what we've taken. And everything that we have taken so far, we've got troops close enough that they're going to garrison it. But I would like to be able to, like, look at all of these hexes where partisans can cause problems in the Soviet Union. I'd like to be able to garrison some of that. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for the turn. Let's go ahead and end the turn and see what the Soviets have in store for us. Now, one thing I've noticed, I'm sure it's in the rules somewhere. I'm sure it says it somewhere in the scenario definitions, but it does seem like the turn length... Oh, nice. Production technology improves to 3. It does seem like the turn length is different in the summer. Maybe not even in... I haven't looked closely, but the summer months seem to operate on a shorter number of days. What I mean by that is, usually, I thought anyway, I would do a turn, then 10 days later the AI would go, and then 10 days after that, I would go again. So it would mean like every 20 days I get to move once. But we've done 2 turns so far, and it is definitely not 10-day increments. It looks like maybe it's slowed down to 7-day increments, because it was the 22nd on our last turn. Now it's the 29th on the AI turn. So it actually looks like we're getting like an extra week for every turn on the calendar for us to be able to, you know, drive the offensive. And I don't know if it's just a summer month, campaigning month thing. I'm not sure. But it definitely, I mean, that's helping our offensive in Russia because it's keeping it to be the summer months longer than it otherwise would be. So I suppose that's a positive. But anyway, we'll see what the AI does to us here, if anything. I would have preferred to destroy that core rather than let them reinforce and support that army. The flip side is we did get our headquarter unit forward, so our supply should be much better in North Africa this turn. You know, I really do wonder if we would have been much better off going for the UK. We obviously hadn't weakened the Soviets all that much, but it's like 2 hexes across, so you can definitely land in England pretty quickly. We had all these units just driving east. The Soviets were nowhere near entering the war. I wonder what would have happened if we had actually decided to invade, done a 1941 Sea Lion type scenario. I probably would have taken heavy losses, but I think we probably could have accomplished it. I suppose the risk is that there's some sort of diplomatic trigger, and then the Soviets are like, actually, we need to get involved here. And then half my troops are in the west. Alright, so U-Boat 23 can deploy to the Med. Brand Corps. I love Brand. Will deploy in Eastern Prussia. We will rail these guys to help with the partisans here, because they're split. Yep, one here. So we put them between them, and they can cover both. We need to go ahead and get these guys to Ionia. These guys here. And then we'll rail this corps at Athens to the east. Well, do we want to rail them now or wait till after we see how far we advance? Let's wait till after we see how far we advance. I'm gonna move these guys to Larissa, though. And then this garrison unit should be the last one we need to keep Greece calm. Everybody should be good there. Alright. And now what? Alright, so we've got these guys surrounded at Proskrov. Are they entrenched? 1. These bombers can't hit any of these guys, though, so we'll go ahead and hit the troops at Zhytomyr, I guess. Because I'm guessing they're dug in decently. Um... Okay, so we'll take Rono. Let's go ahead and assault the 10th Army here at Proskrov with our 8th Army. Push it forward, and we'll finish him off with this corps here, the 30th Corps. Can I move this headquarter forward right away? I can't. I wonder if it's because it was newly taken. Anyway, the Hungarian Corps headquarter can move forward there, and that'll help with supply immediately. We'll move these guys forward to Luck. The Italians here. Alright, we've also got somebody here moving towards Zitomir, which I'd like to clear so we can get to Kiev. Trying to not have to use my armor so I can then break out with the armor. Alright, there we go. So Zitomir will fall. Our armor can't quite move as far as I would like, but it is going to be to Kiev next turn. These light tanks don't seem very effective against our infantry. You can see there we did quite a bit of damage here with the 14th Army. And the Italian infantry there is doing a good job. Okay, so we took Vinnytsia, however you pronounce that. Alright, moving these guys forward here. Move the Romanian headquarters forward to Uman. Alright, moving toward Dnipropetrovsk. There's a Russian army there. It's a major objective. The German 4th Army will move toward Kherson and move toward the Crimea. Fifth Panzers will move forward as well. Move this headquarters toward Kirovgrad. So next turn, the troops assaulting Dnipropetrovsk should have sufficient supplies. Even Kherson is okay supply-wise. Let's bomb the troops at Kiev. Reduce their entrenchments a little bit. Hit them with tactical bombers too. Do a little bit of damage there that they've got to replace. Alright, so we need, in theory, we should put some garrison at Odessa. I don't know that I have any garrisons to throw out toward Odessa. I suppose we could use this anti-aircraft gun we haven't even touched. That'll do the same thing. By the way, Monolith, thank you very much for the resub. For some reason my alerts are off, but I did see that come in. I'm going to move some of these guys back toward the Moscow front. We'll hold off on moving quite as many, because I don't think there's going to be a lot. Once we take Kiev and Dnipropetrovsk, I think sort of the hinterland down here is going to be pretty open. The Soviets only have 35 units right now. annoyed there's this gap here. I'm assuming there's nobody here, but I don't know that for a fact. Right, let's use our tactical bombers to try and finish off this artillery. We did. They were damaged from the previous turn. And we'll see if we can hit the strategic bombers. Can they hit these guys? No. They can hit Riga, which is entrenched, so we'll go ahead and reduce their entrenchments there. There's some interceptors from north of the Gulf of Riga, which our escorts will help us deal with. Okay, we'll hit the army at Minsk with our tactical bombers. Move these tanks forward here. Armored trains are very vulnerable to tanks, but less so to infantry, so that's why I moved the 11th Panzers forward there. Move our mechanized infantry toward Minsk. Really? They didn't get anything there? Alright, take Minsk with our armor here, the 2nd Panzers. And then the 11th will move into Minsk. So Minsk falls, which is not a national morale objective, but it probably should be. That is an absolute critical location, and historically was very important in the campaign, too. Push forward the headquarters to get our supply moving forward a bit. We'll be approaching, probably there will be Soviet troops at Mogilev and Orsha next turn. So we'll probably have to deal with that. Let's see here. These guys are dug in at 3, so we'll have to attack them a couple of times. Alright, nice. That army will weaken the guys at Riga pretty quickly there. Paratroopers even more. Our armor should hopefully be able to finish them off. They get 2 attacks. They do. And then they can move north. And then our headquarter unit can move into Riga. And there you go. So at least Riga, a secondary supply location, has been taken. We'll continue to attack the 7th Corps at Venispils, or however you pronounce that. Move our air units forward a little bit to be adjacent to the headquarters unit where they'll get better supply. Alright, so we'll move some of these allied troops forward here toward Dagafils. Apparently there's a Soviet army at Poltishk, or however you pronounce that. Move our artillery forward here to hopefully be able to support Dagafils next turn. I think we keep these guys in position here at Kunis. I suppose we could shift, so if we've got... Right now we've got 10, and it's up to 4, so it'll be theoretically 4, 4, 4, 6. If we move these guys here, it might support the drive on Smolensk a little bit better, but I don't know if it'll hurt their supply. 4, 4, 6, 5. So if I shift these guys down here, 4, 4, 4, 6. So we did lose a little bit of supply at one of these armored units near Dagafils. It didn't. I mean, it kind of helped the guys at Minsk a little bit, so I guess we'll do that. I don't know. Let's also try to attack. They're currently entrenched at level 4. I don't want to take too many casualties, but I would like to work... Oh, nice. We did a little bit of damage to them. I didn't expect that. I do want to try and get their entrenchments down a bit. So we'll take 2 entrenchments out there from 4 to 2. Alright, everybody else, all the other garrisons are good. Let's shift some of this infantry. Can't operate these guys? They look like they're on a rail line. I don't like force marching them because it's a real big penalty. Efficiency-wise. But... Alright. I think that does it for the Soviet front this turn. Oh, actually, wait. Don't forget about the Finns. I always do that. Let's push these guys toward Kursk, and then maybe we'll swing in behind Vyborg. Why can the Finns not upgrade? Shouldn't they have better weapons? Or better tech? They are minor allies of ours, so theoretically they should be able to. Maybe their supply isn't good enough? I'm not sure. What's the supply situation look like here? Not pretty. So, in theory, cutting this peninsula here with this corps would be useful because it would cut the rail line to Murmansk. Unfortunately, the game doesn't really work that way. Unless you take Murmansk, I don't think it cuts that off, but we'll find out. Meanwhile, in our submarine area, any of these guys need to upgrade again. They can upgrade one. Or they can reinforce one. Alright, so we're going to start a major sub-offensive here in a minute, but for the moment anyway, our subs are not quite ready. Get them a little bit closer to the convoy routes. And then R&D-wise, there's a chance we have a breakthrough on advanced subs this turn, but... let's work on, I guess, one more investment in production tech. Or we could do industrial tech. Or we could do logistics. Well, let's just do logistics. We're in Russia. And then, did I leave those troops in Italy? Did I pull all those? I did not. So let's operate that Italian army out. We'll throw them into the south where there's a lot more ground and a lot fewer enemies for us to be dealing with. North Africa, we still need to fight in. I'm sorry, Tom, if my pronunciations are not great. I know I should do better on that. If it was like a speech or something, it would be easier to prepare or practice. But when you're not sure exactly what you're going to say and it's all off the cuff, it's, I hope anyway, more understandable to be bad at it. Alright, let's move the armor here. Knock out that core. Nice. So we... defensive artillery. So we're chewing up their ammo, at least, for that artillery. And there you go. I need to move these Italian armies up also. What's the supply next to Cairo? 7? That's just as good. So let's move some of these air units into these 7s. Oh. I meant to undo that move. Oh, there we go. Alright, so the artillery should be able to support attacking the army at Port Said. Or Syed? I'm not sure if it's Port Syed, but... Alright, so 7 south of Cairo it is. Alright, so move the Stuka down here. So these Italian forces are moving forward as well. The Italians really need to do research on naval weaponry, because if there's going to be one place where they're going to be useful, it's going to be using their navy against the British. And they're probably too far behind to catch up on that, but we'll see. We'll spend on that. Germany has 600 points. I suppose we could use it for more ground forces, but I'm inclined to do a battleship. It's expensive and it takes forever. 15 months? I don't know how long the invasion of the home isles will take, but if we're going to buy a battleship, now is the time. So Germany in August of 1941 is laying down 2 battleships, which is the most they're allowed to build, with that combined with the units we already have. So they'll be ready in October of next year. Might be too late to be relevant. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a little bit a little profligate. Interesting, because we could have done the Graf Zeppelin carrier option, but I don't even see an aircraft carrier option anymore. Huh. All right. Well, let's end this turn and see what late August of 41 has in store for us. Partisans in France. We'll need to get a garrison down to Bordeaux to crack down on that. Meanwhile, apparently, it must be the Soviet navies interdicting our convoys with Sweden. Maybe we should send our own navy out that way to crush them. Also give us some nice national morale victories against the Soviets, and the more you can crack down on that, the less effective their units are at fighting. Curious if they'll pull out of Port Said. I would. I wouldn't leave that army to hang out and die, but... Meanwhile, a garrison railed in there. They reinforced the troops at Viborg. You can see the leftovers of the Winter War, where you've got these fortification markers here for the Finns, so you can kind of see where the old border was versus where the current border is. Have a good one, Tomt. Thanks for coming out. I'll probably be streaming for about an hour more till I gotta go pick up my kid from school. Alright, so we got some interceptors. Interestingly enough, oh, well, they must have moved their fighter because there were no escorts there. Anyway, we badly shot up those. Yes, it is being uploaded, Seabass. The last, like, 7 videos on YouTube have been from this series. Okay. Thinking. The Soviets have been very passive. Granted, I don't know that they've got enough strength right now to counterattack at any point. Looks like they pulled their artillery back there. They got an army at Dover. Yep, no worries. You can definitely catch up. Alright, so we got an army and a mechanized force coming in this turn. We've already, I think, bought all the mechanized units we can. But... Alright, before we do Russia... Is there anything else we should be doing with these subs? That guy should be upgraded. Okay, switch this guy over to Hunt. And then... I think we're gonna go for the offensive against the British supply lines now. So we'll put one of these subs on each of these convoy routes coming in the north. We'll try to have them close enough so that they can support each other if the British do stumble some escorts down there. But we've got one on the Canada UK, US UK, and British Empire UK routes, and then also Iraq UK. Ideally, we'd also... I think maybe we'll get a second one on US UK, because I feel like that's probably a bit more of a valuable route. But then I'd also like to shift one up here to UK USSR to help versus the Soviets. We'll get another sub coming up there next turn. Oh, that's right. We do have a sub out here. Can we reach that convoy route? We could, but we can't, because there definitely are going to be ships along that supply route. So let's move this guy here, and then we'll just hit the convoy route next turn. Unless we want to... do we want to put a cruiser out that way? It's probably just going to die if we do. Suppose we could send a battle cruiser like the Gneisenau. But even that's not going to get far enough up there to really be safe. If it was like way up here, it might be safe from immediate Russian response or British responses. Meanwhile, I guess let's put our fleet into the Baltic and wage a Baltic campaign. Historically, the Germans did in World War I have a pretty meaningful campaign against the Russians out this way. Let's bombard these Soviet troops here. Maybe it'll make them a little less effective against us. Their readiness is already way low. But I'd like to try and destroy some of the Soviet Navy out this way as we move toward Leningrad. I'd prefer not to be taking this damage, though. Should also impact their supply if we bombard them. We'll just keep the other ships out this way, too, so that if any Soviet ships do come calling, we're ready to respond. We'll move the Italian army out this way. Okay, so I'm thinking we'll wear them down, probably starting next turn. These are tactical bombers over here at Daggaville's. We've got one shell. I thought we had two, but apparently just the one. Their entrenchment is now gone. So we'll attack the Russian... It's an army here, the 16th Army at Daggaville's. We've got the one Italian tank out this way, too. Surrounded, so their supply will start getting worse next turn. Man, I had hoped we'd finish them off this turn, but they just won't die. Alright, let's move. There's a Russian court, Parnau. With infantry. Okay. There's no partisans in the Baltics. Interesting. Maybe that's trying to play into the Soviets, actually. We're happy to see the Germans' narrative. Alright. So there's a corps at Orsha and Mogilev. How many do they have left now? They're at 32 units. Gonna use my artillery up against this anti-aircraft gun. Can these bombers hit that far north? They can't. Darn. Alright, let's upgrade them then. Might as well upgrade those units in a turn that they can't be used. Also, they'll get long range, so they might be able to attack them next turn without moving. Alright, let's attack the troops at Orsha with these 2 infantry units. Reduce their entrenchments, move our mechanized force here. Hit them twice. Nearly destroy him. I don't think we'll finish him off, but our armor can move north there and then take them out. Also get the corps at Vitebsk. And then move toward Smolensk. Headquarters can move forward to Minsk to try and keep this group supplied next turn. But that's a nice little breakthrough here from Orsha toward Smolensk. I don't know if operating or forced marching is better or worse. I don't know which one is worse for your overall readiness type stuff. Okay. Alright, let's use our core here, move into a zone of control near Kiev, see if we can do some damage to these guys. I'd like to take Kiev. That would be a nice victory, national morale-wise. Unfortunately, because these are zones of control, I've got to spend a bunch of movement points just to move into it. Their entrenchments are gone. Really? None of those guys can move there? Oh, we got this guy. We'll probably destroy him and then we won't have enough movement points to move into the city. No, we didn't destroy him. Or move into the city. Okay, well. That was another possible outcome. Let's move this corps forward, or the headquarters forward to Zhytomyr. Give us better supply up there. So we can crush that garrison here. Break across the Dnieper. I should have. Alright, I guess we shattered them. We destroyed the army there. We didn't take the city. I don't think I have enough movement points to move in there. I don't. Should have saved the points then. Anyway, Kiev will be ours next turn. Let's move this up toward... I don't know. Infantry toward... That's an army, though. They're probably not dug in as well. Or maybe Kiev just doesn't give them as much of a bonus, I'm not sure. In any event, or the army was worse. In any event, we'll take that national morale objective. Okay. Move toward Kharkov. Alright, keep that headquarters moving forward. We'll move this air unit south, probably to help with the eventual assault on Sevastopol. Alright, let's operate this Italian headquarters toward the west, so we can push our supplies forward better here. Or north, I guess, would be more accurate. That seems where our logistics are in the most trouble. Okay, I need those garrison units to start coming online. Where are they at? I need them for Ukraine. Alright, meanwhile we've got new units to deploy in the east. We got a mechanized corps and an army. You've heard the TRP mod is fun. I'm not sure I played the TRP. Okay. Alright, did we do North Africa already this turn? We didn't. Alright, so let's bombard the troops at Port Said. Okay, take that port, move forward. We'll keep Rommel at Cairo, but we will move the... Well, maybe we should move Rommel forward here toward... Whoops. I'm not sure. Because Alexandria is a supply center, so theoretically you want them there, but port cities are also supply generators? I don't know. Interceptors. Should probably spend a turn to upgrade my air units in the Middle East too. We already outclassed the British here, but we'd be better off with better stuff. Oops. Upgrade those Italian fighters. I think we just gave them long range 1. Suez will probably fall next turn. We'll get that core there. Soviets are at 28. The British are at 31 ground units, which is interesting. That seems like a lot. We never took Crete. German Airborne is happy for that. Okay. And we already moved the subs. So I think that about does it for this turn. Making good progress, approaching Smolensk, the land bridge to Moscow. Moscow's got a lot of fortifications around it, but it's a good thing we've got multiple heavy artillery units then to draw from. Those will help. I think we'll take Smolensk next turn, maybe, hopefully, possibly. I like how my confidence diminished there. Kiev should certainly fall next turn. Soviet national morale is at 86%. They're doing much better than anybody else. The British are at 72. The Italians are at 106, and the Germans are at 113. Research, do we finish anything last turn for the Germans? We didn't, so we just got 400 points to spend. We bought 2 battleships last turn. I'm just imagining a large-scale sea fight. I don't know. maybe we should be buying more. We could do rockets. Try and, like, blast the British into nothing. We've got level 2 rockets. I think they're really just used against strategic targets. I don't have enough garrisons for partisans now, but I got a bunch coming next turn. I think we've got all of the relevant places garrisoned this turn. No, we don't have Prosgrove this turn, but the rest of the stuff, and not Poltava, but we just took it this turn. Now the key is, ideally you want to have all these places garrisoned because it has an economic impact if you don't. But the key is always, always make sure you've got a unit where there's an infantry or partisan icon here without a line through it. If it's got this circle with a line through it, they can do damage, but there won't actually be a rebellion there. There won't be units that spawn in here. If you don't have the circle with the line through it, then these troops can spawn anytime you're not garrisoned here. But the units with a line through it mean there's no risk of an actual rebellion. Just damage. Now, I don't know if those units can change. Like, I don't know if over time they can actually spawn rebellions. I'm not sure. But at least right now, that's what it means. Okay. Could put the headquarters in Poltava, but I feel like my strength is too heavily weighed down by Kiev and not enough toward Moscow. But we can approach Moscow from the south, too, now that most of these Russian units are destroyed. So we can hopefully overcome that. Franco is impressed by the Axis success in Egypt. Britain secures the oil fields in Iran. Franco is sending the Blue Division to support the German invasion of Russia, so we get a special forces unit there at Königsberg. For free, all upgraded and everything. That's nice. Okay, we got Soviet submarines showing up. I'm always a fan when surrounded units or cut off units just reinforce. Because one, it spends MPPs on a unit that's going to be very effective next turn. And two, they don't do anything to get the unit out to a place where it could be more effective in the future. Like that, it makes our lives much easier when they do that. Now, for the troops at Suez, I don't know, maybe they didn't have a movement point, they couldn't get out, they're surrounded. Same for the troops at Daggerfils. But the other guys, like, try and break out. Try and do something else. That's what I would do anyway, usually. Okay. Sub attacked our destroyer and then left. Alright, those guys are now suffering attrition. Because we've got these ships surrounding it and they're blockaded, they no longer can draw supply, and so now they are blockaded. Meanwhile, the Russians get Tehran. Or Tehran? They get Iran. I can say Iran. Oh, wow. 21, 17, 21, 14, 20. 93 MPPs lost that turn. Is there any reason I wouldn't send an expeditionary force? Yep. Free Italian units. Well, not really free. We got to pay for them. But we get a headquarters unit and 2 Italian corps to support the invasion of Russia. We'll also get some garrison units. Can I deploy any of these in France? It'd be nice. But because I want to have the one in Bordeaux, but we'll put the other garrison units in the east. So a bunch of garrison units arriving this turn. To help with garrisoning the Soviet Union. Meanwhile, we've got new subs coming online too. So, we just got a bunch more units. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the graphs, what game isn't great without graphs? So convoys down here, the British have been doing real well on convoys lately. So initially we kind of ate into a lot of their income with convoys for the first few months of the war. Then things kind of fell off a bit, and although for whatever reason their convoy income dropped. I'm not sure why. But then it was expanding again with some of the events bringing the U.S. Lend-Lease into action. But this last turn, their convoy losses, their income from the convoys, and the losses from convoys basically were equal. So we cut their income from convoys in half. That's a big deal, I would say. Meanwhile, we'll put the U-81 along the USSR convoy route this turn. So we'll expand our convoy warfare there. Move some of these subs west to try and get out from a likely British response. Move U-37 out onto the British Empire convoy route. So I've got 5 subs in there. And we'll take this. Why can he not? And we'll put U-30. Oh no! Enemy contact. There's a battleship here? A Valiant just off Coast Biscay? Alright, so we won't end up raiding one of the convoy routes. Weird. Okay, so let's finish off the Italians here, or the Russians here with the Italians. Daggerfield's got 2 entrenchments back, despite being surrounded? Is that just the advantage of a fort hex or something? Man, those Bulgarian and Hungarian troops are a lot better than games usually give you credit for. Okay. Try and cut these guys off by cutting in around the troops at Parnell. Upgrade these units. Our Italians are attacking at Poltava completely ineffectually, but... Alright, so chain this headquarters from secondary supply to Daugavpils to Riga. Alright. Move those mechanized troops north and that army north. We're gonna use these guys to drive on Leningrad up in the north. Those guys will go to Orsha to support the drive on Moscow. Okay. Alright, in the south it's mostly just pushing forward here. This is where having upgraded our mobility on some of these units is actually going to pay off. Okay. Go for Stalingrad in 41. I suppose we should pull some troops back here toward Sevastopol. I just deployed the garrisons this turn, so I can't put them into anti-partisan duties quite yet. I think we'll bring this armor up to support for Moscow, so we'll move these guys toward Gomel. This headquarters forward to Kiev. Okay. Let's actually move this armor down here towards Sevastopol. Alright, so Kiev's got to be garrisoned. It will be, although these guys, we need troops here too. Okay. Alright, so the south is mostly just a marching game at this point. You know, break through the enemy lines and just go. Okay. What's the supply situation going to look like in the Crimea? Probably not great. I'm going to move the headquarters down to Simferopol here. Once we get our troops toward Sevastopol. Let's just also operate some troops down there. Okay. I guess we'll do though. We can use the Hungarian headquarters down here in the south, I suppose. And then in the north, all right, we got that anti-aircraft gun. Get Mogilov. I can't just advance on Moscow without at least somewhat securing our flank. Which is probably why Smolensk won't fall this turn, because I don't have any third... Well, maybe it will, since I just moved that infantry unit there. Alright, so we took some casualties there, but we did reduce their entrenchments. Can't hit him. Okay. Let's move this Italian headquarters here toward Orsha. Will that push supply forward further between Minsk? It will, a little bit. Alright, so Minsk will fall, or Smolensk will fall next turn toward the end of September. It's not really ideal. You know, we probably wanted it hurts earlier, but... it is what it is. Okay. Alright, moving a bunch of air units around. And then... Alright, so we ran into the enemy anti-aircraft guns, but we did cut off the Russians at Vyborg. So hopefully they'll be increasingly attrited away. My own Finnish troops are not very well supplied either. Maybe moving that headquarters into that town will help a little bit. We'll see. Is this a port? What am I taking damage from? Coastal guns, maybe? We're damaging their supply. So they should be beatable next turn. Enemy sub. Get it. Should have gotten it with the destroyers sooner. Let's move our battleship to lean in also. Should, just by being adjacent to the port, it will influence their supply. We already did our sub stuff. Okay. North Africa. Alright, the troops at Suez are cut off. They have no supply, so they are not. Going to be useful. Enemy interceptors. I'm trying to attack the enemy fighters here. Shattered. Got him. Nice. Really? Didn't they intercept last turn? Alright, we did 1 damage. We'll hit their entrenchments down from 2 to 1. Infantry attack will finish off the entrenchments. Damn it, I thought we had them. I attacked the aircraft here thinking we would finish off the enemy infantry with our other units, and we didn't. Okay. Damn, I thought maybe we'd get a fighter sweep and finish them that way. Alright. Operate this Italian army into Russia, where I need the manpower. Then we'll get the garrisons next turn. Did we finish any R&D last turn? No. We don't have any production technology bonuses for the Italians yet? Jeez. Alright. We're surprisingly spending quite a bit for the Italians on R&D, but a lot of it's tied up into some long-running programs like advanced fighters and infantry weapons, but... Alright, the Germans got 500 points to spend, so let's spend it. Maritime bombers would be useful if we end up invading the British, so let's buy one of those. Medium bombers would be useful in any combat scenario. So we'll buy that. Maybe I need more investments in garrisons and stuff. I don't know. But that ends the early September turn. I think we'll get one more good September weather turn, and then the weather turns to mud, maybe? With the British defeated in Egypt and Cairo in our hands, thousands of Egyptian nationals are calling for the right to take up arms and serve with us in this war. Sure. I'll take a free garrison unit, or a discounted garrison unit. Advanced tanks level 3. Ha 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 ha! Better tanks and fighters. Yes, please. Upgrade those units that we have. We've already got an advantage against the British generally, or the Russians. We're either fighting at an advantage, or we're fighting up one. So I will take any advantage I can get. Meanwhile, the British are moving naval vessels against my subs near the Bay of Biscay, which I'm okay with because those are naval vessels that aren't going to fight us on the convoy lanes. Which they've got plenty to do both, but still. Maybe I can take Tallinn next turn. That's a nice secondary supply center for the drive on Leningrad. I'm also happy if the Russians are going to send subs against my surface ships, because that should free up the convoy routes with Sweden. Meanwhile, we shot down 5 other bombers on that attack. 2 more there. That unit is nearly shattered. Okay, they're going to damage their sub by moving it. They moved a garrison to Tallinn, so they didn't leave it unoccupied, but that should be shatterable next turn. Where are they at strength-wise? Are the Russians getting stronger, or are they still sitting around 30? I feel like we haven't destroyed them as quickly the last few turns. We'll have to take a look at where they're sitting there. If they're gaining strength, that'll pose ill for our swift victory in the Soviet Union anyway. It looks like maybe there was bad weather this turn. Alright, so the British lost 37, 43, 58, 78... 95 MPPs this turn? Okay, so yeah, their convoy income went up a little bit more. So actually they fell, so yeah, okay. So their convoy income is a little bit more than their losses this turn, but still the last 2 turns have been devastating, man. That's like a core worth of MPPs destroyed. So we'll keep moving these guys west a little bit. Just to kind of stay away from potential British escorts. This sub, which was attacked by them in the Bay of Biscay. Alright, so we've got 2 subs on the Iraq-UK route. I'm guessing one of them will get attacked and driven off the convoy route, but that's as I expected. You know, we'll move this sub up on the USSR route a little bit further north. Viborg army is now surrounded. Wow, their efficiency dropped off big time. Their supplies went way down. I guess my supplies also went up when I moved that headquarters into that town. Can I upgrade this guy yet? I can. Okay, nice. Alright, so maybe we'll be able to finish off the first... That's the first Guards army, interestingly. I don't know why they're on the border, but... with the Finns. Okay, so we moved our army east and they engaged a Soviet army near Tartu. Mechanized formation will finish off the Soviets at Parnau. Alright, let's move this headquarters as far as we can. We'll take von Rundstedt and move him to Riga. The Italians and move them to... Can they not move up to Daugavpils? Really? They gotta stay there? What's the... I was saying, what's they're sitting at 31 units, so... Not really getting stronger, not really getting weaker, but anyway, artillery will hit the troops at Smolensk. Mechanized troops will hit Smolensk also, and then we'll move them toward Vizima. I'm guessing Vizima will not be. I was right. Vizima is not unoccupied. Alright, Smolensk is ours. And we'll even start the assault on Vizima. Now we do have to secure our flank down here. Which I suppose the troops coming up from Kiev can help with. We just surrounded Babarusk with our armor coming up that way. These guys can come up and help at Mogilev. And then also shift east toward Moscow. Alright, so Mogilev is ours. Alright, we'll surround the Russians at Vitebsk as well. Babarusk should be able to fall this turn too. So a lot of these also have partisan units. Can we move this headquarters up to Smolensk this turn? We can. Nice. So that should help with the drive on Moscow. They can't rise up here because it's still enemy territory. It's kind of funny. It's like, well, you can't have a rebellion because you don't have... You're not occupied. Alright. Alright, so we'll need one here, one here. Babarusk will also need a garrison. Gomel. Alright, so let's put them north of Gomel. They can garrison both of these partisan hexes. So we got a bunch of garrison units, and Russia has swallowed them all. Oh, I moved them to the wrong town. Oh well. Kursk is ours. We should probably actually drive toward the alternate Soviet capital, too. Because while we're making hay here in the drive on Moscow, the Soviets may not surrender until we take both Moscow and Kubizhev. So we can have some of these guys drive east toward Kubizhev as well. That way when the Soviets relocate their capital, they don't get like a big groundswell of support out that way. And it's more economic benefit for us if we take more of these towns. Alright, so Sevastopol, let's bomb it. Weaken their entrenchments a little bit. Move forward this army here. Headquarters here. And then they've got an army at Kerch too, so we'll block them. So most of their entrenchments are reduced. I need more troops to garrison. The Soviet Union is infinite. Alright. These boys east. Poltov is probably dicey supply-wise. We'll weaken them a bit, but they're going to be surrounded this turn, so... So we're going to weaken them strength-wise, but then also they're going to be... They should have no supply next turn, more or less. Alright, we got the Soviets at Tillinen. Took that supply center. So put a headquarters there next turn. Alright, so some of this massive infantry, because their supply situation is going to be bad next turn, right? Yeah. Alright, let's move this headquarters forward. I mean, I guess the circles I don't care as much about. It's really just the actual... Alright, what's the supply situation now? It's a little bit better. Still pretty bad. The Soviet Union is vast. Forces forward. Also, there's a ton of entrenchments around Moscow, so it may not be easy to overwhelm. We've got 27 units left, so they've still got quite a few somewhere. We've only got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of their units in sight, so they've got 18 more units elsewhere. I guess 10, 11, 16 more. Okay. Meanwhile, in North Africa. Okay, so Port Said is ours. Move that headquarters unit forward. Can I take Jerusalem this turn? Yay, Jerusalem is ours! So obviously we didn't take Gaza this turn. I suppose I should have tried to destroy them with my air power before I actually gave up on taking it. It's too late now. Nobody has the movement points to get there. So the troops in Jerusalem, well, I guess Jerusalem will probably generate some of its own supply. Okay. I actually did that more because I probably would get intercepted by the enemy. There's a chance I get destroyed. I did. The partisan risk in Jerusalem, I'm guessing, is from anti-allied partisans, I would guess. Not sure of that, but I'm kind of assuming. Alright, is that all of the stuff to do this turn? Move those subs, move those ships. I did want to move that one garrison unit down to Bordeaux. Alright, there's no garrison need in Copenhagen. I don't think the Allies are going to land troops there. So move this guy here. Yeah. Alright. We'll see. What's in here? Is there a bad guy in that area? Is there an enemy unit at Sumi? No. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think that about does it for this turn. Let's reinforce these area units, and then we'll move them forward for the assault on Leningrad. And let's see. Let's, I guess, buy some stuff. You know what we could do is we got 600 points for the Germans. We could also spend that to try and convince the Turkish or the Spanish to come in on our side. The Spanish just expose a larger front for an Allied landing, so I don't know about that. But Turkey could play a strategically useful position. So I can spend 250 points on that. And then the remaining 300 points. The Germans did finish some R&D stuff this turn, so advanced tanks one more. I'll have enough for another investment in advanced fighters. I guess let's buy some garrisons. Okay. Alright, let's end the turn and see what happens. Capture of Smolensk boosts Axis morale. Soviet morale is going to fall. Palestine surrenders. Germany plunders 34 MPPs. Actually, we just get Gaza because Palestine surrendered. Turkey signs a treaty of friendship with Germany. I wonder if that happens because we take Palestine. So that probably moves him more toward the Axis anyway, and then we also got the diplomatic success to move him 6% more. Comrade Stalin vows to stay in Moscow and lead its defense. Well, it's the rainy season, so we might have a chance of getting there before the winter. But again, the game really penalizes the Germans for fighting in the winter. On the offensive, especially. So movement's going to be hindered by this rain. Air power is going to be greatly weakened. Alright, wonder if we can get Syria this turn too. If all they're defending it with is artillery. A lot of Allied thinking. Naval thinking right now. Alright, I thought they might drive one of my subs off the UK-Iraq convoy route. So they're going to try and do that. My sub's actually given a pretty good account of itself. It's damaged 2 destroyers trying to attack it. It'll probably die from the air attack, I would assume. Although it really seems to want to stay on that convoy route. Okay, there it goes. Got driven off. We've still got the other one on the UK-Iraq convoy route further west. Okay, 15, 31, 43, 60, 66, 76, 81, 98 total MPPs destroyed at sea. So yeah, they actually, their convoy income fell below what their losses were. This would be a strangulation scenario, I think. Okay, I don't know how far west I want to move these guys. They're going to gradually get less effective as they lose supply. Then it'll take more time to pull them back. But again, the more damage I can do, the better. Do they have like minefields or anything guarding Leningrad? Alright, this army at Viborg is surrounded and destroyed. Very good. Okay. Okay. So, we now have the ability to advance on Leningrad from the north. They've got a headquarters unit here? They gotta have no supply, right? Okay, enemy sub. We'll do the ASW jig. Where's the Soviet fleet? Okay, well there's some of it. Wow, we lost 5. Sank it! 666 national morale points from sinking an enemy battleship. Hell yeah, brothers. Alright, so they got a cruiser here. Hopefully this will limit supply to Leningrad. Alright, there's a Soviet army here at... Where's this? Tattoo? Interceptors, escorts, yada yada. I haven't upgraded most of my armor to the new stuff. I'd like to finish these guys off. Got them. Nice. Soviet army destroyed there. What other unit totals at? 30 now? But anyway. Alright guys, I am going to have to go ahead and wrap this stream up here. I've got to go ahead and grab my kid from school, so we will continue this another day. Until then, however, I hope you guys are enjoying this series as we are hopefully steamrolling the Soviets. It seems like we are. As we approach Moscow from both the west and a little bit from the south. But yeah, hope you guys are enjoying. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.